Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today's March 12th, 2023. We're going to talk about stablecoins, Circle USDC, and what is causing the situation as to why so many stablecoins has depegged from the dollar. Now, Circle is not the only one who had their stablecoin depegged from the dollar. There's been a plethora of other stablecoins that has also gone through the same situation. And we're going to try to hinder down and try to see what is causing so many so-called stable coins to depeg from the dollar. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. You guys can see recently SVB went belly up. They closed down. The FDIC came in and took over the bank, and now many people who had funds locked up in that bank try to do a withdrawal. They try to take out all of the money that they had locked up in the bank because it's uninsured. You know, the FDIC only insures $250,000 worth of deposits that's in each particular account at that bank. So anything over $250,000 is a loss. So now you have Circle, who had well over $250,000 in this bank, SVB. They had billions of dollars in SVB Bank. And now, as the bank was collapsing, they tried to initiate some withdrawals and they couldn't get it processed. So it's kind of in limbo right now. Over the weekend, going into tomorrow, Monday, they'll figure out whether or not the FDIC is going to insure and allow those withdrawals to come through. Now, if that happens, then that's a plus for Circle. But if the FDIC doesn't allow those initiated withdrawals to process, then there may be some problems for Circle and the stablecoin. Now take a look at this. USDC Depegging. Circle's $43 billion stablecoin in the spotlight as Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, exposure is revealed. Okay. Now you guys can see, here it is. This is the situation as of March 10th. This is what Circle tweeted out. Following the confirmation at the end of the day that the wires initiated on Thursday to remove balances were not yet processed. $3.3 billion of the $40 billion of USD reserves remain at SVB. So they have $3.3 billion locked up in this bank. Now they tried to initiate the withdrawals, but it is hung up right now. So out of that $40 billion worth of USDC, $3.3 billion was in SVB Bank. Now, out of that $3.3 billion, only $250,000 is going to be insured, paid back. So that's why Circle tried to initiate the withdrawals. It was a bank run. A lot of people who had an enormous amount of cash or deposits at this bank trying to get their money out as soon as possible. And it's kind of like a first come, first served basis. And it looked like Circle was pretty late to the draw. Like other customers and depositors who relied on SVB for banking services, Circle joins the call for continuity of this important bank in the U.S. economy and will follow guidance provided by state and federal regulators. Pretty much, they want them to save this bank because they got $3.3 billion locked up. If they don't get that money, then it's going to hamper and harm the business, USDC and Circle. Now, check this out. Like I said, this isn't the first time that we've seen stablecoins depeg from the dollar. Look at this article right here. Okay, Market Realist. This came out May 12th, 2022. Tether. It's one of the first prominent stablecoins on the market today. It briefly depegged from one asset, the dollar. So we have Tether depegged from the dollar. You guys can also see, scrolling down further, we also have Terra Luna, UST, which was the stablecoin of Terra Luna. It also depegged, and it was fluctuating around 50 cents on May the 12th. So we have Tether, we have Terra Luna, and look at this. We have Binance. Binance also has a stablecoin. You also see USD coin, USDC, which is currently going through a depegging right now. You have Paxos, USDP. So there's so many stablecoins out, and so many of them out of all of the ones that I've listed. only one hasn't done a depegging thus far that really reverberated across the cryptocurrency space, and that is Binance. This is the next one up. So what can cause these stable coins, quote unquote, it doesn't look too stable, to fall away from the value of $1 US? What could it be? Take a look at this. This is an announcement, an update from the actual company Circle, which produces the USDC stablecoin. And I went through and I highlighted some things I want to talk about. So while USDC can be used 24/7, 365 on chain, right? Issuance and redemption is constrained by working hours of the US banking system. I wonder why. Why would they constrain the issuance and redemption? So you cannot redeem your USD back into dollars until the US banking system opens. You don't see anything wrong with that. If the USDC is meant to be a stablecoin or cryptocurrency, it's supposed to be available, as the previous sentence reads, 24/7, 365. So if I wanted to take my USD and convert it over to dollars and then redeem it, I cannot do it as of right now because the US banking system is closed. So that is another strike against the usage of stablecoins in this particular situation and how it's structured. They are restricting what you're able to do in issuance and redemptions. Now you could go out and what's already available within the blockchain for USDC. You can still go out and buy and trade, but you cannot redeem it, and neither will there be any new issuances. So you cannot sell or buy USDC and convert it to the dollar. Take a look. The next sentence. USDC liquidity operations will resume as normal when banks open on Monday morning in the United States. So everything is looking to what the regulators are going to do with stablecoins and the dollar. Whether or not will USDC or Circle get their money back out from SVB Bank. That's pretty much what they're trying to say. We got our fingers crossed. We're hoping that the federal government, state governments, FDIC, whoever is going to allow us to get our money out the bank, even though we didn't do it in time before they collapsed. Hopefully they will allow our withdrawals to go through and we'll be in a better position than where we are at currently. This is what they're saying. So we are at the whim of the government is what Circle is trying to relinquish on this particular update. Take a look. What is the impact on the USDC reserve? USDC currently collateralized 77%, okay? $32.4 billion with US Treasury bills with a 3-month or less maturity period. And 23%, $9.7 billion with cash held at a variety of institutions, of which SVB is only one. Okay, now check this out. So out of all of the USDC stablecoins available, 77% of it is backed by US Treasury bills. All right, cool. No issues with that. But the other 9.7 billion is cash that is held in banks. SVB is only one of them. Now, SVB, they had 3.2 billion locked up in the bank that they cannot get money to, cannot get access to their cash. What about the other banks? Are they having issues as well, like SVB did? Now, US Treasury bills are the most liquid assets in the world and are direct obligations of the US government, meaning that the government is supposed to be good on their word. It's supposed to be backed by faith. And apparently, with all of the debt that the US government has been issuing, many of the payments that they do has gone through as of now. So there's liquidity. We have other world governments purchasing US debt, government debt, treasury bills. So it's pretty safe right now. That certain segment of the USDC reserves is pretty safe. The concern needs to be with this $9.7 billion in cash at these other banking institutions that we have now seen a crack in one of them, which is SVB. Check this out. That's one bank. Okay. And the second bank, they have $1 billion of USD reserves. Is held with Customers Bank. Customers Bank. Check this out. Let me show you all something else. So here's an article. Okay, check this out. Here's an article from MarketWatch. Okay, and it's telling individuals of 10 banks that may face trouble in the wake of SVB Financial Group debacle. Okay, check this out. Other banks show similar red flags. Now, why would Circle tell its customers or those interested in this scenario of their USD reserve stablecoins? Why would they bring a Customers Bank out of all the other banks that they mentioned that they have their funds at, their cash at? Why would they throw in Customers Bank? Because MarketWatch, if you put the pieces together, is a bank that may also face trouble. Now, as I scroll down, okay, in this article, look at this. Here are the 10 banks that they're showing contracting margins over the past year, or the smallest expansion of margins in terms of net interest margins. Okay. Now, look at this. Do you see this? What's the first bank here? Customers Bank Corp. So Circle is in some dire straits right now. If SVB is the beginning wave of what could be a massive influx of banking closures, Circle is trying to tell its customers that we also have another issue. And we cannot get our money out of SVB Bank. We may not be able to get our money out of Customers Bank, which they told us that currently there's $1 billion right now in that bank. And if they go belly up, $250,000 is only going to be guaranteed. So the rest of the money that Circle has in Customers Bank won't be honored. We're seeing the wave increase in the financial industry right now. So now, if I was the CEO of Circle, and I'm already going through a situation with where a lot of my cash is locked up in the bank, and I see Customers Bank also going through the same type of idea, we may want to get the money out. We may want to go ahead and initiate a withdrawal and take the $1 billion out of this Customers Bank, because if we get one red flag, we're seeing flares on other banks. Now, Circle continues to state that those banks, SVB, customer banks, are very important to the digital industry. Is that the reason why they got so much money locked up there? You can also see another bank that they talked about, Signature Bank. The rising of interest rates is what is causing this current debacle within the stablecoin space and other financial problems that other businesses are going through. So what's the real agenda between stablecoins? Why all of a sudden are they depegging from the dollar? They're supposed to be stable. What could cause a asset correlated to the dollar to depeg from it? Just think about it. Circle has already stated what it is. If you guys have seen in this article here, or this update that they produced, it's because the assets that they hold, okay, Circle, The assets that these USD tokens are derived from is located in a centralized business, financial institution. The cash. It's the cash. The assets that these stablecoins are created from are supposed to resemble. It's unstable. That's the problem. When you see companies go belly up, collapse, that the dollar or these reserves are located, naturally the stablecoin will become unstable and depeg from the dollar, because that money that was used as a reserve for the USDC token, they may not get access to that billions of dollars anymore. And you can see that Circle has cash locked up in other institutions that may be going through the same situation of collapsing. So we're seeing how unstable stablecoins are. Now, they do have 77% locked up in US Treasury bills, which as of today, it is stable because the US government is paying the debts. But what if they don't? That would have been an automatic collapse in USDC stablecoin. It would automatically depeg from the dollar and wouldn't have never recovered. But since the majority of their stablecoin is backed by treasury bills, they're safe from that standpoint. But it's the cash that is the issue that they have. It is the backdrop of which the dollar, these stablecoins are located. That is why this stablecoin is going through so many issues right now. And until the industry, until Circle gets some reassurance that the billions of dollars that they have in cash locked up in these banks is safe, the stablecoin USDC will continue to be volatile. As you can see, SVB is the first chip to fall for USDC. Now, Circle is already telling us that they have cash locked up in Signature Bank, which also is going through issues. They also have funds, cash locked up in Customers Bank, which I've shown you could possibly go through the same situation as SVB. Don't let people confuse you as to this quote unquote stable coin. We've already seen many other depeggings from the dollar. Tether, Terra Luna, and now USDC. It is the backdrop that is causing many of these stablecoins to depeg, to make it not safe. If these stablecoins continue to show how destabilized they are, you'll be better just holding the dollar rather than the stablecoin. If you're trying to create some reassurances in the cryptocurrency industry, you need to make sure that if you're going to create something stable, that it is actually stable. Now, maybe they need to create a stablecoin that is backed by something that is more stable than where they keep their assets at. Because what we're getting now is kind of like 2008, to where everything is being contingent on the financial industry, banks. And if banks go belly up, then these stablecoins that these cash are located will inevitably depeg every time, automatically, especially if they cannot get their cash back. It will depeg, period. So now you can see how Circle is now sitting in a precarious situation, hoping and wishing, got their fingers crossed that the government, that the state, local governments will allow them to get their billions out. Because as of today, it's not looking good. Now, I think that, of course, throughout this weekend, there has been many conversations, many meetings about how they're going to try to quell and calm down the nervousness of this situation. Because if Circle cannot get their cash back, they'll have more issues than the stablecoin. And a lot of startup businesses, venture funds, a lot of other companies has mentioned and gone through the same situation of this inability to get their funds out. This is just one domino. Market Watch has shown us 10 others. So if you're trying to keep the faith of the monetary system intact, then the government has to step in again. It seems to me, ever since 2008, that the government has been the backstop of so many issues with monetary calamities. The government saved 2008. They came through and allowed other banks to buy up, Bear Stearns mortgage-backed securities. The Federal Reserve is also purchasing at that time mortgage-backed securities to keep the financial faith up. And then you have COVID, to where the government backstopped the financial industry to keep faith up. They literally just created trillions of dollars to keep the economy up during that situation. The government saved the auto industry because they was about to go belly up because they couldn't pay their bills. The government saved the airline industry. They gave them loans as well, because if they couldn't get a bailout, then the airline industry would have collapsed as well. And here we are again today, 2023. And the government, the Fed, will have to come in and prop up the banks once again, all in the name of faith. If people lose faith in what they can do with their dollar in the financial institutions of the United States, it's over. You have to keep the faith that the dollar that you have is going to be available when you need it. And now you guys can see that with Circle situation, the dollars that they have is not available. They cannot get it. And if they cannot get it, then the dollar that people hold in USDC, the money that they have locked up there, is going to trickle down. They won't be able to get it. So they're going to try to stop this contagion, because it's not over. We'll see if this scenario is going to cause the Fed to pause interest rate hikes or not. If he doesn't, this is just the beginning. I'm done. It's a very long video, 23 minutes. I usually don't do videos this long, but I wanted to show you that stable coins aren't stable if the assets that is creating the backstop of the stable coin is locked up in a bank, a centralized entity. You're seeing it right now. This is the proof that any of the assets that creates these stable coins is locked up in a bank, and the bank goes belly up. The stable coin will depeg. So Monday, tomorrow, is going to be real important for USDC. Now, the whole mantra of cryptocurrency is meant to be decentralized, right? You're not supposed to be dependent on another entity. But here it is today. A stable coin is dependent on a centralized entity. Let's see how this plays out. You guys appreciate the content that I've created here on this video. I want you all to join me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you maintain the profitability. And as always, trade different.